Alright, Brush Monkeys, welcome back to another Quarantine Tuesdays. And this week we're working on this old school metal wizard. I'm going to zoom in on him a little there. I don't remember who the manufacturer of this was. I want to say it was probably Grenadier for TSR. It was part of a, I want to say it was the Dragonlance Chronicles box set. Unfortunately, I didn't like the base the guy was on, so I ground it off, and that took off all the information about him. I should have done my homework before I did that. And of course, I stripped the old paint off, and so you can still see kind of some of it clinging to him there. And it's pretty gross. I was kind of hesitant to do this guy at first because I really liked how his robes came out, and then I realized that I had dry brushed it first. Then I realized that this would be a perfect candidate for the texture paints, because he's got all these great folds and crevices in the robes. There's a lot of detail in his hands and his face, a lot of detail in the hair you see in there. It's like even his belt has got, I could probably do his belt in snakebite leather and put that out. And also I realized that doing this wizard would give me an opportunity to use the other sculpted base that I had made back in the Paint-A-Palooza class that I took. So he's going to end up going on here once he's all painted up. I'm going to put him kind of like that on the base, and so it'll look like he's got this magic ring around him and all that kind of thing. And he's going to look really spiffy. Now, because the base is already done, obviously I can't have him on that, can't attach him to that just yet, and I didn't like the base that he was on, so I ground it off. But rather than trying to stick him to the poster tack, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, yeah, there you go, usually they fall off, I took a cork without the poster tack, and what I'm going to do is, using this little pin vise drill, I'm going to drill a little hole in the bottom of his base here, and then I'm going to take a short piece of paper clip that off, glue it down into the hole, and I'm just going to stick that paper clip onto the cork without the sticky tack, and that'll hold him in place while I paint him and prime him and all that. And then once he's done, there'll be like a little bit of wire sticking out the bottom of him like that, right? Paint a little dot of red on the bottom of that and put them where I want them on the base, and that little dot of red will show me on the base where to drill to accommodate that wire, and that will help me glue this metal figure to this mostly green stuff and wood base. So that'll make things a little easier. So I'm going to go ahead and go do that. I'm going to drill the hole, put the paper clip in it, and then we'll come back and show you what I'm talking about. Alright? Alright, see you soon. Alright, we're back, and as you can see, I've got the pin glued into the base there. I just used regular cyanoacrylate super glue to glue that in. Gave it a quick zap with the Instaset, which looks like I'm going to need to get more of that. So here's the problem with this whole COVID thing, is that I start running out of supplies of almost everything. But basically all we're going to do is we're going to take that, shove it down into the cork like that. Now I got a good secure base for holding this guy. And turn him around. Now I'm going to go prime him with the Citadel Gray Seer, because I'm going to be painting this guy all in contrast paints. So I'm going to have the Gray Seer all over his face and hands, the skin parts. I'm going to go back over with the Wraithbone, because that's going to make the skin tone look a little warmer than the Gray Seer does. Gray Seer makes it look a little cold and flat. I've got Guilliman Flesh for his skin. I've got Ultramarine Blue for his robes. I'm going to try the Apothecary White for his hair. I'm hoping that turns out. If that doesn't have the effect that I want, I may go ahead and go. I've got Basilicanum Gray on standby to give him a little darker gray hair. So so we'll see. And then I've got snakebite leather here for his belt and his belt pouch there. And ideally, when all this is done, I can throw him on that base. It's going to look pretty spiffy. So I'm going to go prime him, and then we'll get started. Alright, see you soon. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, we're back. And as you can see, I've got the wizard primed, and I've got his skin based in the wraith bone, so it'll be a little bit warmer than the rest of them. I found out as I was doing the wraith bone that, hopefully you can see this if I can get it to focus in, that wrist has like a little wrist cuff around it. So I'm going to do that and the belt in the snakebite leather. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and unfortunately because of the drying time in between layers, I'm going to do the snakebite and then I got to let it dry. I'm going to come back and probably do the skin, let it dry, then the hair, let it dry, then the robes, let them dry. So there'll be a lot of back and forth here with really fairly short segments. But I'm using the dry palette almost exclusively because they're all, with the exception of the wraith bone and the red that I'm going to use to mark the base, they're all contrast paints, so I'm just going to be using a dry palette, so it's going to go by pretty quickly on this. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and paint the leather parts here, and then I'm going to take a break, and then when we come back we'll do the skin and hair and all that kind of stuff. Alright, so I'll see you in a bit. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, I'm back, and as you can see I've got the belt and the belt pouch done, and a little cuff around his wrist done, and I also went ahead and did his face and hands with the Golem and flesh, and he's looking pretty good right about now. Oh, and I just dropped him. Fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over his eyebrows with the Gray Seer base. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and do his hair and his eyebrows and his beard and all that with the Basilicanum Gray instead of trying to do it with the Apothecary White. I don't think that's going to work real well. So this kind of shows the hazard of using the cork instead of the sticky stuff, but I'll go ahead and get that fixed up and see what I can do about that. Alright, back soon. Bye. Alright, we're back, and as you can see I've got the hair all done up, the hair and his out of control wizardy eyebrows all done in Basilicanum Gray, which I think is going to look a lot better than the Apothecary White was going to. So the next step is going to be doing the robes, and with the robes I got to be careful because there's all these little spots around the beard, around the wrist on that side, around his belt, and all of that needs to be done. And I'm using Ultramarine Blue. Ultramarine Blue contrast paint is kind of one of those contrast paints along the lines, it's basically a blue version of the Flesh Tearer's Red. It's a nice deep dark color. Once you get it shaken up, and it separates a lot in the bottom, but you got to really shake the Jesus out of it. But once you get it shaken up, it looks really fantastic on the figure. And I think this figure in particular is going to be a really good example to use that on. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off and finish shaking the hell out of this bottle. You can hear I got a couple agitators in there. And when we come back, we'll take a look at how it looks. Alright? I'll see you soon. Bye. Alright, we are back, and as you can see, the blue has come out very nicely on his robes. Get that focus. Look at that. Oh my god. Yeah, that blue looks really good on there. Ironically enough, this is almost exactly the same color scheme I had him on before, just better. And this looks quite a bit better than he did. So, the next step then is to put him on this base. And you'll notice, out of all the paints that I have laid out here, the last one that I haven't used on this guy is Marseille Red from Reaper and Master Series Pathfinder group. And I'm not going to need a whole lot of this. It doesn't necessarily need to be shaken up very well either. Just going to put a little dot of it there on the palette. And all this is for is this. Bloody hell. Alright, so things don't always work out right. This cork, or this pen, seems to want to stay in the cork more than it wants to stay in the figure. So bear with me a second here while I drill out and glue this yet again. Because boy howdy, this is getting old. It's like the second or third time I've had to glue this back in here. Alright. That's why I have not gotten rid of the super glue or quick set yet. Alright. Bear with me. There we go. This is why this Insta-set is such a fantastic stuff. I am beginning to suspect that my frequent use of Insta-set is what is causing the glue to be utter crap. Because I feel like probably quick setting it like that is not the best hold on it. Like it'd be better if I held it for 30 seconds and let it cure. Whatever it is you're supposed to do. But anyway, we're back on schedule, back on track. So here's what we're going to do. We take the end of the rod there, dip it in that red paint, figure out where we want the figure on the base. I'm saying right about there. And just and that shows us where we need to drill in the base. So then we can just take our drill, hook it up with that little hole, and just drill through that until you eventually drill all the way through it. Drill, 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 drill. Exciting viewing, I know. It's just edge of your seat stuff. I get the feeling this is being so difficult to drill because it's a combination of green stuff and the MDF board. But you can kind of, if you put your fingernail on it, you can kind of see how far into it you are and get an idea how much further you have to go. But anyway, you drill all the way through that. Then what you do is you cut this off to match that. Now what I'm going to do is figure out, okay, that's where he's going to sit on the board. That's how long his thing is going to be. What I'm going to do is cut it off actually a little bit above that. Right about there. Because you don't need the pin going all the way through the board. You just need it enough that you can don't need to go all the way through. You just need it enough that you can get a grip on the on the thing. Now, because I've extensively handled this guy without matte sealing them first, I'm going to have to repaint some of the blue. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off and go touch up the blue, finish drilling this out, and glue them to this base, and matte seal them. And then we'll come back and see what the finished guy looks like. Alright, see you soon. Bye. And he's done. I've got the wizard all painted up, and he's glued to his base, and he's looking pretty good. I like him on that little sculpted sorcery base that he's on. It's all painted up and matte sealed and everything. So I'm going to call this one done and wrap up this video. And thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye. Hey Brush Monkeys, Tom from Flying Monkey Studios here. If you like what you see, click like down below. Click the subscribe button if you want to see more and want to be notified when new videos come out. Check out the links in the video description for links to our Patreon page and our Instagram, so you can see all the different ways that you can support me in doing what I do, and get your hands on some of these miniatures that I've painted if you want one of your own. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook if you want to see updates and see when new videos get posted. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks a lot. Bye.